He told me that, I watch too much TV on YouTube, and he's 7 generations of stoneworkers, and he could do this. And I said, at this point, we were like into it by like a week. I said, at this point, I just don't want to go any further.
This is the plaintiff, Darlene Perini. She says she hired the defendant to make a concrete kitchen countertop for her. And when it was ready to be installed, he broke it. He came back and did it again, and again he broke it. At that point, she lost faith in his abilities, and she's suing for the $1,000 she paid him. This is the defendant, Mitchell Joseph. He says the plaintiff's boyfriend didn't like the way the countertop looked after the first phase, and she asked for her money back. He tried to explain it takes a day to dry. Then he would be back to remove the mold and to smooth it down, but she wouldn't listen. He's sorry the plaintiff changed her mind, but how is that on him? He's accused of not being concrete in his abilities.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
The People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Ms. Perini, you are suing Mitchell Joseph of SWFL Marble, Tile, and Stone for a $1,000 deposit that you paid him, and according to you, he was not up for the job. Tell me what happened.
Well, I hired him to do a concrete countertop, and he told me he had no problem doing that. So he came, we talked a couple of times. He told me that the whole job was going to be like $1,750 and that I needed to give him a $1,000 deposit. And I said to him, well, what if I don't like it? And he said, well, you're definitely going to like it. And if not, I'll give you your money back.
Well, that's weird. What if you just say you don't like it and then, he's gone through, that's a terrible thing for a businessman to say. But anyway, go on.
Well, that's what he said. And so it's not even a matter of me not liking it. It was broken in pieces. I ordered an entire countertop, not a puzzle to glue together.
So where does he do the pouring and the mold? Is all that taking place in your kitchen?
Yes. First he came and he said he had to make a template, which he did. And then he was going to, continue and pour the cement, which he did. And we watched him. It was right in the kitchen. And
did you take any pictures?
I took a lot of pictures. First, because I was so excited that he was doing it. And then because I couldn't believe what it was turning out like. But that's the template that he's making on the counter. And that was the first batch of cement that he poured on right there.
Okay.
When he went back outside to get the rest of the cement, that big blob had already set. It was hard. He was trying to push it down flat, and it was actually like a lump on the countertop.
Okay.
So I said to him, well, how's that going to work? And he said, don't you worry. This is going to be flipped upside down. So this is the bottom. So I still was a little worried because when I sit at a countertop, I don't want pieces of cement slicing up your legs underneath it. But he said, don't worry. I'm going to sand it all down. So I just waited.
Okay. And what happened?
So the next day when it was all poured out, he came back and he flipped it over and it broke in half.
It broke in half?
Yes. The whole piece that was supposed to be the over the counter for a little, just put a stool to sit there. That whole piece broke off. So he said, don't worry. It happens sometimes. He did it again. And the next day after the second time he poured the cement, when he had it, you could see that it was cracked everywhere. It wasn't just cracked in one place. It was cracked, everywhere. So I told him, this doesn't really seem to be your strong point. And I really don't, want to go any further. And he told me that, I watch too much TV on YouTube, and he's 7 generations of stone workers, and he could do this. And I said, at this point, we were like into it by like a week. I said, at this point, I just don't want to go any further.
Okay.
And he said, okay.
All right. So, Mr. Joseph, tell me what happened here. She showed me pictures of a lot of cracked concrete.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay, perfect. So when I first talked to Darlene, we tried to talk her into doing granite. Okay. They didn't want to spend the money on granite. She said, we would like to have concrete. So I told her it's a process that has to be critiqued. You can't just pour a mold and then put it on the countertop and there's no cracks or chips or anything. You have to fine tune it. It has to be done in several stages. First of all, Your Honor, we were only there 2 days. We bought all the material, which was $700. I wouldn't even have taken on the job because there wasn't enough profit. My installer, who was doing it, who has done several of them, wanted $500. So the material was $7, the install was $5. There was only a couple dollars left over for Southwest Florida marble, tile, and stone, which that didn't matter to me because we had took on the job. When you pour the mold, it hardens, and then you pour another one and another one and another one. It's not like pouring a driveway or a sidewalk where you can pour it all in and then let it dry for 3 days, because it doesn't work like that. What you have to use is a specialized concrete that hardens within 15 minutes. So anything that would go in, and sometimes you get like a Hershey Kiss where when you pour it, it locks coming out of the bucket. So what you do is you just shave that top off, and everything on the bottom is going to be super smooth. Now, all the cracks that you see in the countertop get flashed the next day.
What's that mean?
That means you do a smooth coat with a trowel over the top of the countertop to eliminate all the cracks. Then after
For how
the
long?
cracks
And when you do a smooth trowel of concrete over cracked concrete, how long does that last?
So, Your Honor, with all due respect, okay, so there's going to be hairline cracks. They're not cracks like 1 inch. These are just pressure cracks. Okay, so when you have a pressure crack, what happens is you fill it up with that's a chipped corner.
What about this?
These are the cracks.
What's this?
Yeah, those are hairline cracks.
That's a hairline crack.
That's a 1/4 inch. Okay. Now, what you do is you fill that up with concrete, and then we glaze it with an epoxy after we're done. Now, we were only allowed to go there for 2 days.
Well, why did you start over if that's the case? She says you started over after the first one when it cracked.
We never started over. We poured it one time, and then we came back the next day, flipped it over, the corner chipped off, and then we were going to, put the corner back on and then flash everything. And by that time, when we left that day, the boyfriend called and he said, listen, we're not happy with, how it's coming out. Don't come back. Return the money. And I was like, well, listen, I said, that's fine. I said, we won't come back. But here's the issue. We've already spent the $700 on material, and the installer
can I just ask you, do you have any proof that you spent $700 on materials?
No, not on me, right? This has been a long time. I'm surprised it even made it because this happened, I'd say 2019. I think you only have a year to stretch these on.
That's not true. And B, when did this happen, Ms. Parini?
It was February of 2020.
Okay.
The first I started talking to him.
Can I do you have your mate there, boyfriend or husband? I don't know. I can't remember.
Yes.
Can I speak to him?
We have to swear him in.
Sure.
Can I get you to raise your right hand, please?
Sure.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Let me hear from you. Were you there while this job was being done?
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened, according to Darlene, after the first pour, when they flipped it over, it was cracked, and so they started all over?
They intended to, but pieces just kept on coming off. And
Right, but did they start all over, or did they just keep working on that piece, or what did they do?
I couldn't tell you starting over or taking pieces out and putting pieces
Well,
in.
you'd know because the concrete would be missing. They would have gotten rid of it, and then they would have started with another template. That didn't happen, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
So are you present when he flips it over?
No, I wasn't.
All right. So when do you see the cracked nature of the concrete slab?
When I got home that day.
All right. Did he keep working after that?
The second day he attempted to do some more cement, yes.
All right. Were you there for that?
No.
All right. So you come home and they're gone that second day. How long were they there?
They were there the 2 days.
The 2 days. All right. And Mr. Joseph, so are you telling me that whenever anybody gets a concrete countertop made, there will be cracks in it, and then you just get a trowel and fix the cracks?
Yes, Your Honor. And see, Your Honor, with all due respect, it's not like concrete like you think. It's not where we're just going to fill up a little crack. It's almost like a super glue. This is a complicated job, and it takes several days for us to get it right. And once you pour it, it's never right on the first time. And I can say this for the plaintiff. I mean, if you're looking at this, nobody was there when we were there working. But if you're looking at this job when you come home, you're gonna say, wow, what is this? It's almost like if you walk into your home and it's remodeled and everything's tore apart, because at first you got to tear everything out to put it back together, you know?
It was a disaster when we got home. There was cement everywhere, chunks of cement. I don't know how you were going to put those, reattach those.
What did you end up doing, Ms. Perini?
We went and got granite. The only reason why we went with the other stuff was because we were like flipping a house and I didn't want to wait another month, and I didn't order the granite in time. And he told me this was a 3-day process. I did love
But you fired him after day 2. Who's the one who called him and said, don't come back?
I don't know. I don't remember. You did? Jimmy did. And
let me talk to Jimmy again.
Well, okay.
So Jimmy, you tell him not to come back. How does that conversation go? What do you say? What does he say?
Well, like, hold on. When I got home and I saw the disaster, and I knew that it couldn't be fixed. There was so many pieces everywhere. So I said, look, Joe, things are just not working.
When you say so many pieces everywhere, you're talking about cracks on the countertop, because pieces elsewhere is just a matter of cleanup. Has nothing to do with anything. So, and what did he say?
He says, well, I understand what you think, and we won't come back.
Wait, but did he tell you? I'm sorry. Did he tell you? No, I'm in the middle of the process. Don't worry, that'll be fixed during the process. Did he say stuff like that?
No, I don't think. I think he was kind of glad to hear me say that don't come back, because I don't think he really wanted to do the job to begin with. And the way things were looking, I just said, maybe it's a good idea that you don't come back. So he didn't argue with me. He's kind of agreeing with me.
Did you tell him you wanted your money back?
Yes, of course.
And what did he say?
I already spent the money. At that time, I tried to put a stop on the check, and it was cash already, and the bank couldn't do anything about it.
Right.
And that was it.
That same day.
The same day.
Let me ask you a question, Ms. Perini. If you were told it would be 3 days and you stop him on day 2.
No, we started.
Okay, your boyfriend said he was only there 2 days. Your boyfriend agreed with him that it was 2 days.
I know, and I still think he was there a third day. I would almost bet anything, but it was a year ago, and I don't think they remember.
So but if in fact, it's a 3-day process, and whether it's a 3-day, whether he was there 3 days or 4 days, I really don't care, because there could be a delay. But if he tells you, look, I'm still in process, let me finish it. And according to you, he had told you, well, if you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. Why don't you just let him finish it to see if you like it? Why don't you just let him finish it to see if he's right about filling in the cracks and then the glaze on it and everything else? Because it's not like a concrete floor. It's something different, So why wouldn't you just let him finish?
Because like Jimmy said, he was kind of losing it now too. He couldn't believe it broke again. and it just was turning into a mess. A piece of cement broke off, and it chipped the floor.
Okay, Mr. Joseph, were you losing it because it was cracked?
Not at all, Your Honor. We never freak out. We're nice and smooth. I mean, no matter what you do, you can't freak out on anything, you know?
No, but was it upsetting you that when you flipped it over, it was cracked?
No, not at all.
He was losing.
Yeah, I hear you. But here's the thing. This is a contracts case, and the question is who breached the contract, okay? And when I have somebody saying, I'm not done, you should give him the other day to see how it looks. And then you could take pictures of it and say, what a piece of garbage this is. I shouldn't have to pay for it. Give me my money back. But you stop him before he can finish, and now you want your money back too. How are you going to prove that he couldn't do exactly what he's saying, which is end up fixing it all and having it look like a concrete countertop looks? So none of us know how it would have ended up. If you'd let him finish and there were all these cracks on your countertop, slam, bam, thank you, ma'am. You'd be getting that $1,000 back. All you had to do was let the guy finish and then say, this is garbage, I want my money back, and show me pictures of the garbage it was. How are you going to prove your case here that he should return $1,000 when you didn't let him finish and he told you, I'm not done, I'm in the process? Verdict for the defendant.
The verdict for the defendant, no question about it. Miss Barnini, what are you thinking?
I'm kind of surprised, to be honest with you. I thought I gave him the benefit of the doubt, but it just kept getting worse and worse, and I chose to stop it at that point.
Well, the problem is you didn't give him a chance to finish, and that's why the judge found for the defendant in this. By the way,
give him a chance.
Whose idea was it to do a concrete countertop?
It was mine.
That doesn't sound like a very good idea.
Well, they're really beautiful. You should Google it.
I guess I will. All right. Well, sorry about that. You don't get your $1,000 back. Mr. Joseph, let me ask you, by the way, what's your opinion of a concrete countertop? You tried to talk her out of that, didn't you?
Yes, sir. I tried to talk her out of it. I tried to tell her to go with granite, and that's what she ended up going with. She ended up going with granite.
Congratulations. Good enough. Okay, Harvey.
So, Doug, here's the deal. If somebody does a job for you and it's not perfect, you got to give them a chance to complete it, to make it right. Usually, that's one chance to make it right. In this case, the plaintiff didn't give any chances, and because of that, she lost.
Why does the judge have long sneezing fits of 10+ sneezes in a row?
Seriously?
Seriously, man. What's up with that? Everybody.
Just the way I do it.
It's very
I take after my mother. My mother does it. I have a niece who does it. My niece Michelle does it.
Right.
It's just the way we sneeze.
It's inherited, definitely.
I think so.
Because
I mean, none of our kids do it.
Actually, Christina sneezes 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
Almost every time.
This not the same as 9 to 13.
For you, par, the standard is 9 sneezes.
This is the plaintiff, Jonathan Freeman Sr. He says the defendant is the mother of his child, and she had him falsely arrested and accused him of hitting her. This has caused him great turmoil in his life. His lawyer proved in court that she lied, and he's here seeking the $10,000 he's most certainly due. This is the defendant, Olivia. She says she came home one day to find the plaintiff in bed with another woman. The louse cheated on her in their own house. Bottom line, the guy hit her. He was arrested, and his problems are his problems, and she owes nothing. She's accused of making things up.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant, the mother of his child, filed a false police report claiming he hit her. But the defendant says, well, the deal is she caught him in bed with another woman, and when that happened, he did indeed hit her. It's the case of nightmare in the bedroom.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Freeman, you are suing the mother of your child for $10,000 that you say you had to expend because she brought false charges against you and for emotional distress. Let me hear from you, Mr. Freeman. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going? So I met the defendant in high school. We were in a, I guess, maybe around 7-year on and off again relationship. We've had our ups and downs over the years. It was more downs for me. and eventually got brought forth into this situation. The night before, she claimed that I assaulted her.
Hold on one second. You have a baby together. How old is the baby?
He's 7.
He is 7. Okay. And then you ended up, at some point while you were on again, you end up getting arrested. And what is it you get arrested for, Mr. Freeman?
She was talking to a friend of mine. He sent me the information. And I was just like,
what do you mean by talking? You mean flirting, right?
Yeah. She was flirting with a friend of mine.
And the friend sent you what information? Pictures of the texts?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did they say that made you think they were flirty?
Basically, she was saying that he's cute. She wants to get to know him, things of that nature.
Yeah, that's pretty flirty. All right, and then, so your friend shows it to you, and what happens?
When he shows it to me, I get mad. I'm going back and forth over Facebook, and I sent her a picture of me kissing another girl.
Oh,
She tells me, just to get back, she tells me that's why I called the police to tell them you raped me. And
when did that happen?
This happened in 2013.
2013?
Yes.
And had she called the police? Had she actually done that?
Yes. She said that I raped her. I got a phone call from DeKalb County Police Department. And when I went down there, spoke to them, I explained them the situation, and basically told them that I did not rape her. I was able to cross-reference the date. She said I raped her.
So your girlfriend filed a false police report saying you raped her in 2013. Yes. And we're going to talk about stuff that happened because you stayed with her in 2018?
Yes, after the false rape.
Okay, why wouldn't you run in the opposite direction when someone falsely accuses you of rape?
Unfortunately, I have mommy issues.
I have mommy issues?
I was abused by my mother.
Why would you stay with her?
We wasn't together. We eventually got back together because I was threatened for me not being able to see my son and things like that. My father wasn't there. I wanted to make sure I was going to be there for my son. So
was your son born when she alleged that you raped her?
He was born.
I was pregnant.
5 months later.
I got
pregnant. She was pregnant at the time.
She was pregnant at the time that you kissed the other girl, and she was pregnant at the time that she was flirting with the other guy.
Yes.
Ms. Olivia, can you explain to me what happened on the rape allegation?
So it's not like it was the sex wasn't forcefully, but I do feel like I was manipulated into having sex, which is what I explained to the officer, which is why they called him in to have that conversation.
Manipulated how? What did you tell the police? Do you have what she told the police?
All it says on the work order on the case number is I responded to a call for
that says she was sexually assaulted. I'd like to understand what police officer writes just that. I mean, because that's pretty incredible. So the police get involved. You know what? I shouldn't have slept with that guy because, he was kind of manipulating me. And then the police go, let me go figure it out. Let me get to the bottom of it. Let me do my crackerjack police work and get to...
Because at the time I was
obviously you told him he raped you or the police wouldn't have gotten involved. In fact, your text to him back in 2013 says, when he sends you the picture, let's look at that, shall we? Let's look at that. You mad you got caught, and then he sends a picture of him kissing some girl. And then she says, really? That's why I called the police and called rape on your and pressed charge. You want to be dirty? I played dirty too. I tired. So talk to me about that. Because that sounds like you made a false rape allegation because you were mad at him kissing a girl. Ms. Olivia?
At the time, I was 17 when I sent that text message.
We were 18.
17 or 18, I don't care. I mean,
it doesn't matter.
It sounds like you've called a false rape allegation in to hurt somebody, to play dirty. Is that what you did?
No.
Well, it is what you did. You just finished excusing it by telling me you were 17. So, Mr. Freeman, now let's talk. That's 2013, okay? Apparently you forgave her and you guys got back together for whatever reason, for the child, for whatever. So what I want to understand, Mr. Freeman, is what happened now that causes you to come to court to sue for $10,000? Because the bond and the classes and all that is for a different case, correct?
Yeah, they're all for the original domestic violence case that she put against me.
All right. And that point is in what year?
2018.
Okay.
December 2018.
And Ms. Olivia, why did you call the police regarding domestic violence? What happened?
This time, the December of 2018, he gets a message on his phone. Not a message, a phone call. And it says, Essence. We're in the middle of doing laundry. And I said, oh, who is Essence? He refused to answer the question. I'm going to ask you again, who is Essence? Oh, she's just a friend. Well, I know all of your friends. That I don't know her. Finally, the truth comes out, and it's a girl that he's been talking to since the beginning, back in November, is when they started talking of 2018.
Okay.
So I was like, okay. We started arguing about that. That led to him putting his hands on me.
How?
So not only are you putting your hands on me over a female, but it's a female that you cheated on me with. So I'm not dealing with that.
How did he put his hands on you?
First, gripping my throat, choking me. He decided he wanted to put hands in my face. So
I don't understand what the phrase "hands in my face" means. Did he hit you? Did he slap you? Did he punch you? What did he do?
He slapped me.
With an open hand or a closed hand?
Open.
Okay. And then what?
So then I left and went to a friend's house, and I called police from her house. And I told them what had happened, and they were like, okay, well, we're going to look into it. They took pictures of the bruises and stuff that was on my face and things like that.
You end up getting arrested for this in December of 2018, correct? That's the charge that you have to post a bond on. You ended up doing that's what you want reimbursed to you. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So let's talk about that. She says that you attacked her. I see the police report. The police report shows bruises on her. So what is your testimony about what happened that day?
I kind of decided that this is somewhat like my mother. I don't want to be with somebody like my mother. So yeah, she's correct. There was a time where I got a phone call from a young lady named Essence. We get into a little argument. She ends up leaving. The next day, I don't come home. She sends me a video basically saying that you need to fix your family. I'm going to break all your stuff.
Okay, hold on one second. Hold on one second. I want to see that video.
Talk to me now, or I'm starting to up. I swear on the life of your son, I will up. There is no way you're going to sit here and tell me that you are going to leave me for and talk to her instead of fixing the out of your family. Fix your family.
So when I got that video, I knew, everything that hit the fan, because the first time I left her, false rape. Second time I left her, she sent naked pictures of me to my job. Now this is the third time she's claiming that I'm the third time I'm leaving her. I'm figuring something's finna go down. So I'm already preparing that something's finna go down. I came back home from work later on that night. The house was a mess. I seen she took all her stuff. I'm just like, all right, cool. All right, clean up my house. Invite Essence over again. I invite her over.
You don't waste any time, do you?
Unfortunately, no, because actually this isn't.
So you invite Essence over again, and then what happens? Tell me what happened. She says you hit her. Did you? Yes or no?
No, I did not hit her. I wasn't even at the house. I didn't know about the domestic violence case until I came back home. I invite Essence over. We're talking. I hear something at the door around 2 o'clock in the morning. I hear somebody coming through the door, and she's trying to bum rush into the room. I'm holding her back. As I'm holding her back, she's starting to push me, mushing my face raw. And I was like, hey, chill out. So, and I said, what's wrong with your face? Because I saw she had bruises and stuff on it. She says, oh, you would know you did it. The police were called. Now they're on their way. They take all of our statements. Nobody was going to be arrested until the officers were leaving. They get right into that truck. She yelled out, he has a warrant out for his arrest. He has a warrant out for his arrest. And it's like, a warrant for what? The officer went back to his car. He did a little more tests and found out, yes, there's an active warrant out for my arrest.
Why was there a warrant out for your arrest?
Because earlier that day, she lied and said I beat her when I was at work.
So did you plead guilty to it?
No.
So then how did you end up having to go to classes and all that?
They mandated me. With the TPO that she got, the judge mandated me to actually take the classes. So I didn't plead. I didn't take anything. When you get a TPO in Georgia, they make you take these classes. If the judge says you're guilty, they make you take these classes.
Okay, so did you have a hearing and then they made you take the classes?
Yes, I had a hearing.
Okay, so why would she have to pay for your classes? You're suing for $720 for that because you're saying the judge shouldn't have believed her, even though the judge did, and you didn't do it, and she has a history of lying. The $3,500 for the attorney's fees, that was for what?
That was after the TPO cases. I was rearrested again for a felony aggravated stalking. What happened was, after I got locked up for when she lied and said I beat her, she went back and put my name aside and put my number aside the app, contacted herself multiple times, went back to the SVCU. Then she entered my name into it and said I was contacting her. Next thing I know, you have a police report of that as well.
I have a police report that'll tell me what? That she falsified texts and stuff?
No, basically the police report says that she that I was contacting her. So because the police report
I have a police report that helps her case, that you were contacting her. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought I was going to see a police
yeah.
report that she was found to have been falsifying texts. Okay, $3,500 you paid for an attorney. This is a statement of account for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cases against you. Is that accurate, Ms. Olivia?
No.
Who are these other cases? What are these other cases?
I only filed 2, and I reported a violation of a TPO order because his now wife, Essence, she called me and she was like, we need to have a sit down and have a conversation. I said, there's nothing to talk about. We really don't need to have a conversation. What is done is done. You decided you wanted to pull your gun out on me that night. I told you.
Oh,
if
she pulled a gun out on you?
She pulled a gun out on me. And I said to her plainly.
Did you have charges against her for that?
I tried to have press charges against her for that, but they wouldn't. It never went through.
On a gun charge? That's the one that didn't go through? She pulls out a gun on you and you say, if you're going to shoot what?
If you're going to shoot, don't miss. Because otherwise, it's really going to be an issue. Because you have no reason to pull a gun out on me. Like that was just, it's like, I'm not attacking you. Well, I'm trying to have a conversation because I want to know why you're in my house in my bed with him. That's what I see. He's like, oh, they were having a conversation. No, y'all were in the bed making out, getting ready to have sex. You had hickeys all up and down your side of your neck. So that was one. Then the second was I was getting all of these different text messages. The number that popped up was his number. It shows up on my phone logs at the time. And that's what I handed over to police.
Now, you tell me, Mr. Freeman, when I see a police report that says that, you know, there are bruises, and she tells me about 3 different times that you've put your hands on her, does that mean you've never put your hands on her? Obviously, the judge didn't listen to that 2013 excuse and required the classes as a punishment on the TPO. Yeah. So why would she have to pay for that? A judge sentenced you to that. And then you have these attorneys' fees for these cases. You know, you filed this case originally. You dropped this whole thing, and then you've revived it 2 years later because you are now having issues with visitation and custody with her. You end up at some point paying him a couple of $100. Why did you do that?
Because I want him to leave me alone. I just wanted to be over with.
And that couple of $100 was representing what? His filing fee on the civil case?
I don't know.
It was representing the whole. No, Your Honor, it was representing the whole.
All right, I am unable, based on your testimony, to find that it is more likely than not that things happened the way you're testifying that they happened. I do know that this is something that happened for one reason and one reason only, that you're back in court. There's a threat about taking you back in court for child support. And now something from 3 years ago is brought up when, if it's true that the whole thing was a scandalous lie, why wouldn't you have pursued it 3 years ago? But all right, you brought it up. You've had your chance to prove it to me. You had 5 cases against you for violating restraining orders, for having communication anyway, for sending third parties to communicate with her. You know, and you have this really bad relationship, the two of you, and it doesn't seem to matter if this pours over onto the child. You guys don't belong in a small claims court. You guys belong in family court. You belong in a place where there's court-ordered intervention for everybody involved. So not for you and not for him, but for the child. In terms of being able to prove to me that she owes you 10 grand, I find you failed to be able to prove it. That is my verdict.
Well, in this major dispute between two parents involving a child, the judge finds the plaintiff does not get $10,000. So let's see what Mr. Freeman has to say. You brought the case to court, Mr. Freeman. What do you think?
Unfortunately, she didn't even allow me to explain. There's a situation to where she did an aggravated stalking. I was able to prove that she was lying about the aggravated stalking. I got that case dismissed. I also went every single month. Every time I tried to do anything for my son, she brought me back to court. I got each and every one, all those cases that were on there were all dismissed cases against her, all payments I had to make towards a lawyer, and eventually the final case for this had got dismissed. All of my cases had got dismissed. I did my best and try to file. She was paying me. She paid me for the original lawsuit that I put against her.
I know you're upset, but the judge heard you. She heard you with your points. She did not feel like you proved your case. She also said this is a case that really belongs in family court. So that's her decision. Okay, let me talk to you, Olivia. You heard the judge. I mean, this is not going to end in this case here today. You know, you got to go to family court over these issues.
It's
okay?
Completely fine. He can go back to civil court. It's completely fine. But the fact still remains. You went the entire year of 2020 without serving me anything. Now it's 2021 and you're mad you're being sued. It's too much. I want him to stop. Leave me alone. I left y'all alone. I don't call y'all. I don't bother y'all unless it has something to do with our child. So it's going to go back to family court, most definitely, because this is too much.
I think everybody would agree it is too much, indeed. So you get it back to family court. Follow Judge Million's advice, and good luck to both of you. And that'll bring this case to a close. An amazing case. Quite a dispute. Harvey?
Well, Doug, this is an interesting case because the burden of proof is a little bit different here. The burden of proof is on the plaintiff to prove that he didn't hit the defendant, and that's because essentially he's suing for defamation and false arrest. He was unable to prove that. Normally, you have to prove an affirmative thing. Here, he has to prove something in the negative. He was unable to do it, and that's why he lost.
Where is your happy place?
My happy place, where the best place to go to get away from it all, to recharge and just feel better, is our little place in North Carolina. And I think you probably saw that coming.
Yeah.
It's a 2-mile drive down a dirt road on 10 acres in the middle of nowhere. And there are beautiful views from there. And it's quiet. All you can hear.
I can see the change in your face as soon as the tires hit the gravel.
Right. The wind in the trees and the birds and crickets and that sort of thing. And you know what? The other thing that my dog loves it. So, if the dog
because it's the only time the dog's off leash.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
That's my getaway. Well, how about you? Do you have a happy place that's other than that?
Other than that, my happy place is the couch when all the girls are home and it's raining outside and we're all watching a movie and no one can leave. Everybody's got to stay there.
That's so funny. You are such a social creature. Like your happy place could never be a place where you are apart from other people.
Oh, never.
No, it's always got to be.
Everyone like cats. Everybody's like cats all over this.
Yeah.